Hey guys, welcome to this brief video for teachers who are using the California ELD digital resources from McGraw-Hill Education. My name is Brandon Harvey, National Literacy Specialist, and this will be a video showing you how to access resources, how to send and assign resources specifically for English language development. I also want to remind you that McGraw-Hill does have a website set up that you can go to for even more information about all McGraw-Hill materials and remote learning resources. The website here on the screen, www.mheonline.com/remote learning. So again, if you're using Wonders or any other McGraw-Hill resource, this might be a valuable site for you to go and check out, and do know that that site is continuing to grow and develop as we add more resources to support you in this unprecedented time of remote learning. So let's go ahead and begin by taking a look at the California ELD resources. Okay, teachers, here I am. I'm logged in under a 4th grade account, but do know it does not matter whether you teach kindergarten all the way through 6th grade. The buttons and the clicks are all going to be the same. So here I am sort of on the teacher dashboard or home screen, and you can see that I'm on Unit 4, Week 2. Now, if that's not where you need to be when you log in and you see that your account is under a different unit, you can simply click the unit. You can move around to different units and weeks that you see a need for. So here I'm going to just use, for example, Unit 4, Week 2. Now, as I scroll down, you'll also notice that I'm on Day 1. So, of course, I can change the different days as well. And remember, today we're going to be focusing on the ELD instruction. So your screen may look a little different. You may have some different resources depending on your grade level, but you will have your lesson plans here. And again, you see emerging, expanding, and bridging, those stages of language acquisition. And I can click on any of those words and expand the lesson plans for them. And if I click into, so here I am in the shared read for emerging learners, and I can actually see my lesson plan here. So if you wanted to, record your lesson, you could have that right there for you. Also, you can click on the resource, and this is the tool that would be used during this lesson. And of course, this is the student's ebook. And students in their ebook can actually type into this digitally, right? They can just click and they can add their answers. They also have highlighting tools, pen tools, note-taking tools. And so if they're in this and they're doing their work, you as a teacher can click here on this little student icon. You can choose your class, and then you can also see the student's work by choosing those students. So only you as a teacher will have this special student icon in order to see the work that they do in their work text. Okay, so now also you'll notice that when I'm in this lesson, right, I'm back to my lesson plan. If I wanted to go see the same thing for the expanding, I could actually just click right on it and it shifts. So now you see I'm in my expanding shared read. Remember, it's going to be the same text, but just a slightly different wording of the text. Also here you can see the shapes that directs you to the level of instruction. So remember that if you take a look here, the emerging is circle, expanding is the square, and bridging is the diamond or rhombus shape. So that's one way to access the lessons and the resources. But let's go a little deeper and let's come over here to my resource library. Under the resource library, when I click into that, I'm going to scroll down just a little bit and you're going to see a specific tab that says English Learners. Here you're going to see all of your different resources that you can assign to students as well. So again, if I click on that cog, I can assign this resource to my student or students. They have student practice sheets, such as the language development practice, which is really about, sort of differentiated grammar, the weekly writing frames, and these writing frames are going to support the different texts that are in their shared or in their that shared reading, which was in their work text. You have the different games and activities as well. Again, you can scroll through a variety of games and activities. And again, just by clicking on the cog or that wheel with each one, you could assign this to one of your students or group of students as well. As we continue to go through the list of materials here, you've got your teacher's edition. I really like the fact that I don't have to open up the whole book. I can find the unit that I'm in and sort of get to those pages a little more quickly. And then the differentiated texts are those text that again, emerging, expanding, and bridging. So look at the shape next to each booklet. And these are sort of that practice and application tool that comes in on day 4 of your lesson plans. And you even have your newcomer resources here as well if you're doing maybe a small group of lessons for your newcomers. Okay, so let's go back and let's think about also accessing resources from here. So remember that on the home screen, let me go back, you're going to see a launch presentation, right? And this might be for the entire Core Wonders material. But if I come over here to my resource library, I see those same slides, right? I see in presentation. What I want to show you is that if you'll scroll all the way over to the end, when you start seeing those circle, square, and diamond shapes, these are the slides that would go for this particular day. You can see my days are highlighted with these buttons, and I see those resources. And so again, this is another place where I can say, oh, I want to assign this, talk about it. So I can click on that cog and I could assign this resource. I want them to fill out that graphic organizer. I can assign this resource. And truly, let me just show you what your students would see. When you assign it, it opens up for the students in this sort of interactive format. So they have all of the tools down here that they can use to interact. So I may click T for type. I can change my font size. I could even change the color. But once I click my I could type into my graphic organizer. And again, over here in the bottom, it's always important for students, whether they're doing a worksheet or graphic organizer, to click that save button, because that's going to save it to their binder. It's going to save it if it's an assignment so that they can submit it back to you. Okay, so again, you just have another opportunity here to find sort of specific resources, which I think could be really handy. Again, here's day 2. I could go to day 3, day 4, and always remember, what do I want to do? Scroll all the way over till I get to that circle, square, diamond kind of icon. Here, for example, I can see my emerging differentiated text. And then, once I click on that cog, I can assign this to my students. Now, what is that going to look like? When I click on assign, it's going to bring you to this assignment manager. And the reason why you could use this is if students have a student account, they have a login, so they would be able to get these because they would show up in their to-do list. So I would give this assignment a name. Most important is instructions. If you don't type anything here, students won't know what to do with the text, right? Especially my younger students. So you'd want to write out like, please read the story, answer the questions at the end, and so forth. Teacher requires review, yes. Student audio recorder. And then you would click when you want that assignment to start, when is it due, and when do you want it to go away. And then here is where you can select all of your students, or maybe if you have different groups of students, you could choose different groups of students to have this particular assignment. Now, I think it's also important that you notice that when you want students to sort of answer questions back on this worksheet, right, they're not going to be able to do it on that worksheet, like the work text. They can actually type into it. So make sure you give them directions as far as maybe you want them to write their answers out in the comment box. There's actually a box where they can respond back to the teacher. So that might be an idea on how to see their work. All right, so just one more thing I want to show you is in the professional development library, there is all sorts of PD that is already set up for English learners, the ELD resource. So if this is new to you, I would really encourage you to click here on the implementation support. This is sort of self-guided, self-paced professional development around the overview of the materials, the program, the instruction, which is a little different, K1 to 2.6. You'll even see video support. One of the things I really like, if you just want to see it down here at the very bottom, is there is a full 33-minute video, but it is from top to bottom a day 1 ELD lesson. And so you can see that being done by a real teacher with real kiddos. So I think there's some really good professional development support that might be handy for you. Okay, so here I am. I'm logged in under the first grade account, which would be similar. K1 have similar resources. I can still see my ELD lesson plans, but what I really want to take a look at is in my resource library. One of the biggest differences for kindergarten and first grade is that rather than having multiple differentiated texts, you're going to see one student work text called My Language Book. You'll also see the addition of the ELD Foundational Skills Practice. But other than that, you're going to really see the same thing that we saw before, such as interactive games and activities. You're going to have your visual vocabulary cards, your teacher resources, those differentiated text, and newcomer resources. So that's really the only difference that you're going to see here. Kindergarten and first grade teachers. But remember, just like I showed from the fourth grade view, even here at first grade, they can go into their ebook and they can do the work. So here they can do the work. So talk about the pictures, circling things. So again, they could use maybe the pen tool, maybe make it a little bigger, and they could circle things, right, on the screen. Also important maybe to really encourage parents to read some of the directions down here with them, because there would be some talking and things that could go on as well. Or if you're going to do sort of a virtual lesson, you may want to highlight some of these directions that would be there for the student as well. And then just remember that you have that same cog where you would choose your class and then you would choose your students so that you would be able to see their specific work. Okay, so when you're assigning it and they submit it back, that's how you're going to do that. And that's going to show up, FYI, for you when you launch that ebook or when you go into the binder. So when you go into the binder, you could go into the student's work and see their work text. So a couple of different ways to access that. All right, so I hope this video has been helpful for you in accessing the ELD resources for California ELD Emerging, Expanding, and Bridging Stages of Language Acquisition for you to use as you are teaching remotely. Thank you so much, and I encourage you to watch or send out my second video, which is going to be parent and student support. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.